area separated into two lobes. You have the inferior lobe and the superior lobe. This actually extends like way, way far back in. This is looking at anteriorly, way, way back um, posteriorly, and covers the whole chest. And just get rid of that. I just wanted to give a little idea. You got the stomach over here, esophagus coming down to that, and it's coming around, etc., etc., just to get a little bit of orientation. So get rid of that real quick. There's some important parts on the visceral surface of the liver. So I'm going to redraw that kind of just, okay, like this. So we're going to separate that into our lobes. There's a few important things that are really obvious on this. So this is called the visceral surface, which means it's the one facing the rest of the organs, viscera. But basically, we're inside the body looking at the back of the liver right here. So one of the first things that we need to pay attention to is the inferior vena cava right here. That's going to run on the top. And the liver sits right up against the diaphragm. So the diaphragmatic surface follows this shape right here. The IVC comes through the diaphragm and passes posterior to the liver. So that is one important landmark. The other important part, real quick, is through here, you're going to have the porta hepatis. And one important part of the porta hepatis is that it's going to contain the bile duct, the hepatic duct, and the cystic duct, which we will talk about later. But before we get there, I want to go over just a few more things. Over on the side, there's going to be a very important little structure over here. We have our little gallbladder. Little guy likes to hang out, make gallstones occasionally. And then two other important things that I want to mention are the two small lobes on the visceral surface of the liver. So right here, you've got what is called the caudate lobe, and that's caudate. Caudal is something you see all in the body. It normally means tail. For instance, you have the caudal equina, horsetail, that's in the spinal cord, and it has the spinal nerves. So this is kind of like the tail of the liver. And then there's one other lobe that's kind of inferior to it called the quadrate lobe. And it doesn't look like this, but it's located about right there. And so those are just sort of like the general features on the visceral surface of the liver. Another important part is you got the round ligament of the liver right here, and the falciform that separates, the falciform ligament separates both of those lobes. So that's just a little bit. The anterior surface of the liver, like the other side, just around the corner here, is a bare surface. So you can see the falciform ligament and the round ligament, but for the most part, the important stuff is kind of back here. So I'm going to, real quick, we'll go ahead and get rid of that. So the next part that I really felt I needed to talk about was the duct system. So I mentioned the gallbladder and those features back there. Well, the way that the ducts run are important. So first, let me go ahead and put in the boundary of the liver over here. So we're going to come up right here, and then let's put in our little gallbladder. And again, that's arising from the visceral surface, but it's tucked in here. And so now let's start putting in some ducts. So the first two ducts that are going to drain are your right and your left hepatic ducts. And of course, these are up in the liver, producing bile, and those join to form the common bile duct. And that's going to flow down here. Well, the gallbladder, he's got his own stuff going on. So he has this little cystic duct going over here. And that's the cystic duct. And because these have to actually go somewhere, let me go ahead and get another color for this. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in the duodenum. So that's the end of the stomach. It has the pyloric sphincter. So we got our stomach over here. That's the lesser curvature. Here's our greater curvature. We've got our duodenum right here. It's going to go around like this. It's got a nice little C shape in here, which is going to become important later. So this duct over here is going to pass posterior to the duodenum, and it's going to enter over here at the hepatopancreatic ampulla. And the reason it's called that is because the pancreas is also giving a little bit, and just the pancreas, which is way bigger than this, but it's kind of shaped in this, I guess kind of like a gun in a way, if you want to think of it like that. But these ducts meet up and they empty into the duodenum. So that's how the ducts run. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the arteries, and these are all going to run together. There's all sorts of other stuff in here. But next is the arteries. So let's go ahead and hide that layer for now.